Hello, my friends, and welcome to another review. And this time it's about a series which was 20 years in the making, and compared to other series, it's still quite enjoyable to a certain extent. And we're talking about Digimon. As a whole, Digimon has a thing with Pokemon. And what I mean is, Digimon was a concept that was a little bit more advanced than Pokemon because originally it came from how Digimon came to be was through the Tamagotchi. You see, it was a development. And since there were certain people that worked on the Tamagotchi, they basically expanded it years later into a series called Digimon Digital Monsters, what we have over here. In Japan, 1999, we had a series. A series that came out, and for what it was worth, the series spawned into something more, and in, at the same time when we actually have Fox Kids, because everybody remembers Fox Kids, we also got a taste of Digimon. Now, in truth, there were 7 seasons. There was Digimon Adventure 01, 02, Digimon Tamers, Digimon Frontier, Digimon Savers, Digimon Cross Wars, and Digimon Universe App Monsters. We never did get App Monsters, but we did get Adventure, which was known as Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, Season 4, Digimon Data Squad, which was Digimon Savers, and Digimon Fusion, which was Cross Wars. I don't think we ever got Universe App Monsters, but we did get 6 out of 7 seasons of Digimon. Another thing of note is we had several films like Digimon Adventure, Children's War Game, which was called Digimon the Movie, Adventure 02 Part 1, Digimon Hurricane, Touchdown, Digimon the Movie, Digimon Adventure 02, Revenge of Diabotomon, Digimon Tamers Battle of Adventurers, Tamers Runaway Locomon, Digimon Frontier Island of Lost Digimon, Digimon The Digital Monster X Evolution, Digimon Savers Ultimate Power Activate Burst Mode, Digimon Adventure 3D, Digimon Grand Prix. Oh man, we got Digimon Adventure Tri Chapter 1. And if you've never seen the Tri movie, it's basically the after story of Digimon Adventure 01. So far from what we have gotten over here, and from what I kept seeing, is confession. Because I've never seen reunion, determination, loss, coexistence, and future. And there's to be another one happening next year called Lost Evolution Kizuna. So basically, the rest of the movies, they went from they went to 01, which is season 1, to say season 4 or 5, something like that, the later ones. And then we get back to 01, where the original Digidestined are all grown up. And then various games. Various games have basically we have so many games. Most of them were on PS1, Game Boy Advance. Some were on PSP, PlayStation Portable, and some were Japanese. Some came over in English, but most of them were Japanese. There was also manga. Now you're probably wondering why am I mentioning this? Well, let's see. The game I'm playing on my channel, Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth, is actually the 15th anniversary of Digimon. It is an anniversary game based off the original 15 years that Digimon have been a franchise. Now, as mentioned, 1999. The game I'm playing came out, since it was PlayStation 4, it came out a little after the PSP games. And that's 2016. So 2016, and I'm playing this in 2019. So mind you, yeah, there's a lot. And then there's the question of which was better, Digimon or Pokemon. In all rights, I can say it's Digimon, because unlike Pokemon, Digimon actually carries a story that would pretty much build into something bigger. Whereas Pokemon, it's the same damn thing, even in the games and even in the manga. It's just the same damn thing. I think the manga, though, it kind of takes the journey a little bit more out there than you would see in the anime. In the anime, you see our hero Red go through various gyms just to prove one thing: he is the best at what he does. And yet, at the same time, when you do something like that, it really just falters for being very repetitive and very much tiresome to watch. It's almost like with the longer anime you've heard about, like Dragon Ball, Bleach, One Piece, Naruto, and other such creature comforts of anime. Pokemon falls in the same category because the story is always the same. If it's not Red, it's somebody else who's doing the same thing. You basically get your team, you go out on your mission to get all 6 badges of whatever region the character is in. A subplot of some evil organization basically wanting to rule the world, or if not the world, something close to ruling the world. They're basically upsetting the balance of nature, and therefore it takes this one person, male or female, to go out, stop this group from ruining everything they know about their world, and basically stop them on the way while going to Indigo Plateau. And eventually taking on their elite 4 of whichever continent or region they're from, and then take on whoever champion that is in whatever volume of the series they're in. Whereas with Digimon, Digimon takes the story. Digimon takes a story from kids randomly picked falling into a world unlike their own, a digital world. They're given these creatures sworn to protect them, and they go through evolution. That's another thing that's different than Pokemon. You have evolution, but their evolution is a little bit different than Pokemon's evolution. Because if you see my Let's Play of Cyber Sleuth, the Digimon in my party is totally different than the Digimon you've seen in the anime, which can work either way. Because, see, in this case, it's all about the same thing, the bond. The bond between the owner, it basically changes the Digimon itself. That's what I got out of Cyber Sleuth, because it can go either or through basically your stats. In the anime, it's technically the bond between the owners. Like Ty and Matt. Those two basically have such a bond that basically it merges their Digimon together to become something more than just an ultimate, a fusion. There are different varieties of things that can happen within Digimon, whereas you don't see that in Pokemon. You don't see fusions happen in Pokemon. Digimon, however, you see something a little more. And I think I stated this before, and if I not stated this to you guys, I'm stating this now. I like Digimon more than Pokemon. Respectfully in that aspect, just because A, there's a lot more going on than just you're going after badges and proving that you're a better trainer than each of whoever you're facing, whether it's a name or a no name. And it basically is a little more than collecting. And as I've seen so far, I may be wrong, but there are like 160 Digimon versus the count of Pokemon back then, which was like 150. That's 10 up than say what you already know. But then again, it could be just like Pokemon because they're about the same, but totally different. Now I have on my personages I have the following. I have a Pikachu, a giant Pikachu, and a tiny one. Now the thing is, I do like Pokemon as well. I do have a certain type or types I like to use whenever I play a Pokemon game. Whether I'm doing it as a Let's Play or I'm just playing it at my own leisure. The point is, I like Digimon more than Pokemon. Respectfully. Now, I'm not saying that I don't like both. I do like both. But Digimon just has something a little more than basically what Pokemon has. Only because the story just angles differently. Because at the very start of the series, it was lighthearted. It was friendly. It had its dark moments, but it was alright. it had a balance until much later when they went into Tamers, Frontier, Cross Wars, Fusion. Oh wait, no, Cross Wars, and then it went Cross Wars, Data. Let me go back to where it says names. Um, it was different because you had Digimon Adventure 01, 02, Tamers, Frontier, Savers, Cross Wars, and App Monsters. I would have loved this. I would have loved to enjoy Digimon Universe App Monsters. I've never seen that. I've never seen that series, but I have seen season 1, season 2, season 3, season 4, and a bit of season 5. I kind of lost that season 6 because I don't know. It's like for some reason I lost interest in watching Digimon. I don't know why. It's just like after Adventure 1 and 2, it was alright. 3, the characters weren't so likable to me. 4 is about the same. The characters just didn't come out and wow me. They felt generic. 5 was sort of dark. 6 was everywhere except where it should have been. And I don't think it took itself seriously, and I'm not going into 7 because I've never watched it. As for the films, I've never watched all the films. And like I mentioned before, the only ones I've actually ever watched was one of the Try movies. So therefore, it tells a lot. And I kind of wish Pokemon actually did something a little more than what they originally did. And I'm not saying Pokemon is kind of meh, but I just feel that Pokemon should have done a little something more. They should have branched out. And I think what they should have done was this. Red slash Ash's journey should have stopped right at the end of the Indigo Plateau. Because after that, we all know what happened. He lost. And what should have happened was he went through training. He learned how to become a better trainer from that. Because it would have paralleled Dragon Ball. And would have made him better. Would have made him, a little smarter on how he should do his battles and everything else. And, opposite end to that effect, he returns to Indigo Plateau. He beat the Elite Four. Then take on the champion. And then after that, he's just proven he's the best. And that would have been the end of his story. And yet we would have moved on to a new trainer. That's what I feel is key. Because see, the game series basically had it right where the anime purposely failed on that matter because it was basically a journey, a day in the life of a trainer, wanting to be the best at what they do. You are the trainer, and depending on your preference, the trainer can either be a boy or a girl. The adventure was different for each one because of where they lived. Digimon didn't have no such thing like that because Digimon had a little bit of difference. There weren't always these 6 kids. It might have been 4. It might have been 5. It might have been 3. But the thing was, they were all part of the same group. they were all the Digidestined. Just what they did were a lot different than what Pokemon trainers do. They dealt with two worlds instead of one world. They dealt with the real world and the digital world. That's totally different, and that's totally key right there. Most people, when you look at Pokemon, Pokemon is pretty much somewhat bland because how many times are you gonna do the same damn thing? I mean, granted, there were plenty of other games that basically charted off into something more in which the anime tried to emulate. Like there was Pokemon Snap, there was um Sky Dungeon, no, Mystery Dungeon, not Mystery Dungeon, Mystery Dungeon. There was Gale of Darkness, Coliseum, um, otherwise known as Pokemon XD. I mean, the actual games that were, differ from the mainstream line of Pokemon games. That's what I'm talking about. If Pokemon actually went that route to where it strayed away from being a bland catch them all, win 6 badges, advance to the final level, beat the final four, and the champion, it would have been totally different. If it basically veered off into saying, you're a Pokemon trainer, but the world is at stake, and the only way you can become the best is by getting a party and taking on this threat and basically saving the world in the process of you becoming the best at what you're doing. If it veered off into that, like it did in some of the games, it would have been a lot better. And even though in the gamer community, as far as Pokemon is concerned, you got people that hack the game. And you've seen them all before. You've seen Nuzlocke, you've seen Moemon, and other crazy wacky hacks that they do. But the only ones I know of are Nuzlocke and Moemon. Like I said, not knocking any of the Pokemon games, and not knocking anyone who do shiny hunts or anything of that sort. You're basically wanting to put more variety in your game, and I respect that. It's about the same with me playing a different version of a known game, but with a little hack, it kind of changes out the whole ordeal of the game. Whether it's going to change the story or it's going to change how you gain experience or whatever, or even if they change up characters, it basically says, "Oh hey, you don't want it like this? We got you. We heard what you say, and here, this is what you can do. You can do this, and this." Customization. Basically, Pokemon is trying very hard to be different because there are people out there that want to customize the series to suit their own needs. And we're going to rule out Telefang because Telefang is something separate from Pokemon altogether. I won't go into Telefang because it really is a separate thing altogether. So, I see it like this. When you talk about Digimon, you're talking about a series that has been going on since the late 90s to the early 2000s up to now. It's basically 20 years old. And the game that I'm playing pretty much is going to be on Switch as a full game because it has two games, Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory, which they call it Digimon Story Complete. Now, on that note, I might do Hacker's Memory right after I finish Cyber Sleuth. But so far, as you can tell, that's not going to happen for a while. But at least most of you who have seen me play this know that it's very enjoyable and the story is getting there. It's really getting there, and I like it. But as far as, the TV series is concerned, the TV series, after a certain while, you want to see something different after 4 seasons. And even after that, you want to see something more. I mean, I can say this. Either Data Squad or Fusion. I think Fusion was trying to be like Zatch Bell. And if you remember Zatch Bell, it basically had this thing about wanting to be king of this race or something to that aspect. And everybody had to it was a free for all basically. So technically a free for all to which you have to beat the living shit out of everybody else in order to become the number one. It's the same thing with Shaman King. And the same thing with Kamen Rider Yuki. Otherwise known as Dragonite here in the US. Like I said, it's something that to me it kind of got lost in translation for me. And just I lost interest. Not because the series just didn't wow me, but it's the characters. Like 1, it's fine. 2, it was a continuation of 1. That's totally fine. 3 was that's all I can say. 3 was 4, okay, what are you guys doing? 5, what? 6, 7, never saw it. But, it's not like I haven't played a Digimon game before. I have played a Digimon game before, but again, it was just like, it was a free-for-all. It didn't feel like it had a story or anything like that. Now, mind you, I said played, never Let's Played. Because Digimon Story is basically my first ever Digimon Let's Play that I've ever done. The second one will be Hacker's Memory, and possibly the later ones, which is coming out. There's another one coming out called Rearise, I think. I need to check because I'm actually looking on the side. Because I know they got 17. Well, from what I'm seeing, there are a lot of different. There are a lot of different manga off it, and yes, even the game I'm playing now, Cyber Sleuth, is basically a manga. So the next one down the line is also a manga, which is Hacker's Memory. And then there's Digimon Chronicle. And from the wiki I was reading off of, it basically has quite a list. But whether you love it or you hate it, Digimon has come a long way for 20 years. And I, for one, well, it is what it is. It's a pretty awesome series. And compared to Pokemon, I wish Pokemon would actually stop being bland and do something different. Like they did in the games, they can do it in the anime as well. It don't have to be the same character over and over and over and over and over again. Because really, if you think about it, the character becomes sort of bland after you see him go through the same damn thing and he still hasn't learned his lesson. That's what I find funny. This is about a character who has basically almost has the same charm as Leisure Suit Larry. That's how bad Ash is. Think of Ash as a Pokemon version of Leisure Suit Larry. And there you have it. He's trying so hard to wow people and yet it's not working. You have a way to wow people. You're just not using that full potential, son. That's the problem. Yeah, but for those who agree, you can agree to disagree. But as far as I'm concerned, a happy 20 years to the Digimon franchise, and hopefully may you continue to thrive and prosper off your efforts of being a somewhat reasonable and enjoyable series. So with that, I have been your friendly neighborhood Tenkaichi, and this was a review of Digimon. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this was informative as well as entertaining. So until then, take care, and I'll see you next time with more great content.